what we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. Gentlemen?
Very good answer there, Martin. Any other questions, Chris?
Yes, there are. I'll just bring up. Okay, Martin, Peter. As far as creating speed with your hands and the water flicking concept, I see a lot of top ball strikes with a ton of flexion in the lead wrist and extension in the trail wrist. Way post impact, which does not look like they are trying to flick water off them or create speed in their hand, even though they are. Can you elaborate? Thanks.
That's a pretty long question. I'm not that smart, so I missed you after the first sentence, maybe. So were you talking about flexion in the lead hand, extension in the trail hand, or the opposite post impact?
You might wait for an answer on that.
Yeah. Look, that's
okay. So Craig, I know Craig. So
flexion in the lead hand.
Sure. So here's what I'd say, Craig. I mean, we're talking to an audience of golfers that typically isn't you, right? So I actually know this gentleman, good striker, good player, frustrated, very good golfer, like many very good golfers who would like to be even better golfers. If you see a good golfer that has this ability, where the lead wrist bends back quite a bit post impact, and yet they have great low point control and great control of the face vector where the face is pointing at impact, fantastic. Should I take a new golfer and teach them how to have this ability in their motion? No, because they need to learn how to have a follow through first before they have a finish. Now, in a follow through, both arms are going to be straight. Typically, you're going to see some behavior where, the lead wrist is going to be ulnar deviated. The trail wrist is going to be coming out of its extension, sort of in its flat mode. But when you look at, say, a Freddie Couples, who might look very cuppy post impact, a lot of that has to do with their choice and how they grip the golf club, right? So he's got a very, very strong grip. He's very extended at the top. In post-impact, there's a lot of throw, right, which is fantastic. And that kind of behavior works for him. Now, the audience we're talking to, for the most part, are people that have a hard time hitting the sweet spot, have a hard time touching the ball in the right place and brushing the ground after impact. So the model is kind of like, we're not going to say that there aren't people, outliers, that do beautiful things in golf. Of course they do. And of course you can measure, a variety of degrees of flexion and extension in wrists and hands. But as a coach, we tend to stay down, hey, this is a road we're going to go down. We may take little deviations in that road, but for the most part, these kind of things are for extra credit if the person deserves to even go down that path. So, Peter, would you like to address any of that?
I'll just say that if you can teach, as a golfer, starting with the short game, if you want control, you're not going to get anywhere near as much control initially doing that as you are doing this. And by getting consistent control of the club face and the compression on the ball, you'll be a lot more under control around the green for sure. And with your iron play coming into the green. Now with the driver, okay, then you're going for a power. You got the ball off the front foot. It's a little different. You want the similar, but it'll behave slightly different because the club head's traveling much faster than you are, and it's going to break down the shaft, the left arm, or the left wrist, I should say. But for control, if you want control of the golf ball, you want to hit your iron shots close. And that's what Peter Thompson said. It's a game of how near, not how far. If you hit your iron shots close, you'll make better scores more often, and you'll find the fairway with your driver more often too. So you won't lose as many balls. As you go into that extra distance thing, you might do it, but you might be like Rory and Bryson DeChambeau this last week, and you'll miss the cut. So,
You know, and so here's what I'd say. I'd say get really good at this kind of stuff. Get really good at it. Stingy little punch shots. Understanding how to do this right way before you try to do this kind of behavior. So there's always a walk before you can run, and there's more than one way to make a golf ball's trajectory behave a certain way. But again, you know, you can play Twinkle Twinkle Had a Little Star on a violin, and then you can play Sergei Rachmaninoff, right? Well, for the most part, we're reaching out to most people that are playing Twinkle Twinkle, trying to, you know, work their way into stronger, more, you know, tricky applications.
excellent. Yeah, no, exactly. It's build the impact zone where you get compression first, add speed as you can, and enjoy, as we say, enjoy the hit, enjoy that compression, and that's you're on the way to playing and lower and having lower scores.
Absolutely. Do we have time for one more question?
That's all we have there so far. Craig says, understood. Thank you very much, gents.
Thank you, Craig. Great question.
Yeah, so very good. So did you guys want to summarize?
Well, basically, there are more truths. We haven't. There are still quite a few other. I shouldn't say there's a lot of untruths out there, probably that need to be looked at somewhere along, and maybe in the next segment. What do you think, Martin?
Oh no, for sure, absolutely, and I'd be happy to. You know, I think that I'd rather do in our next show. Let's do kind of a faults and fixes. I will send you, Peter, my like top 5 things that I see from. I'll send you 2 things I see from my mini tour players, and I'll send you 3 things I see from my weekend warriors that want to break, you know, 90 and maybe even break 80. How about that?
That sounds fantastic. Yeah, getting those fixes is pretty important if you're going to enjoy the game for a lifetime.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll do that next show. Little faults and fixes. Have a little fun with that, and I think you'll see how it kind of relates back to just basically good routine, good structure, understanding where the weight of the club is. For those of you watching still on, thank you for watching. So many people take things lightly, like they don't have precision in their grip. I'm going to be facing 14 students on Wednesday. I can promise you 10 of them, their grips will make me kind of bite my lip a little bit, but I will smile and I will work on them a little. And you'll say, well, if their grip is bad, why don't you just work with it? Because I want them to play really well. I want them to have articulating hands that work nicely. I want them to be able to get the sweet spot on the ball well. And sometimes when I see hands that are all over the place, the compensations required are really, really tricky. And yet everybody wants distance and consistency. So as a coach, you know, I'm not nice. I mean, I'm friendly and I joke, but I challenge people to be better. And then I get you for 3 days. And in 3 days, guess what? You're sequestered. You can make positive improvements in a 3-day camp. Now, what Peter does, you can see him in person, or you can get into his programming, which is probably the most detailed, specific, step-by-step golf by numbers I have ever seen. So if you follow the program, you'll be surprised. It's so detailed that if you just follow the system nicely, you'll look like a golfer. You'll have a path that delivers the club like a golfer, not some mysterious thing like that you do 1 in 15 shots. So I would suggest you'd spend some time looking at Peter's stuff.
Oh, well, thanks, Martin. It's basically, there's nothing more senior than actually understanding what you're doing before, during, and after you've done it. And I think that's where our Master Coaching Academy, we've really got some very thorough programs in there for the different students. But the Quick Start Beginning Golfer program is an ideal place to actually get those basics, as you said, step by step. And once you get the pieces together, boy, you can make a great looking picture. And
you know what, Peter? I can guarantee you can be a master violinist in 2 hours. Guarantee it. If somebody says that to you, run. Okay. But if somebody says to you, hey, if you work the steps properly and mindfully over time, you can really earn the ability to become a very, very competent ball striker and have fun playing the game. And Peter's been a mentor to me over the years. He's helped me become a pretty good coach. Thank you, Peter. And I've used a lot of his stuff every single day on the lesson tee to a lot of success in my life. So I'm very, very grateful to you, bud. That's why I like doing these with you. So guys, I'm going to have to run, but let's kind of wrap it up if you don't mind, Chris.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks very much anyway, Martin. That was, I really appreciate you. You're a great student, a student of golf and a student of life. And
Thanks, pal.
Keep on keeping on, buddy.
You know it.
Yes.
Thanks very much, Martin. And thanks, Peter. Fantastic session. And I hope everyone in our audience got something from it. There was a final truth, and that is the drills build the skills. So,
yeah,
so
there you go.
Very skillful at something, you've got to really drill it in many times until it becomes automated without thinking.
So where do they go to get all this stuff, Chris?
So I've just posted in the chat box to get Peter and Martin's programs and schools. Yeah, so there's a couple of websites. You can just have to click on them. Give Peter's program a go. I've been on Peter's program for quite some time. I've taught it for probably about 26 years, all around the world, in Switzerland, US, and here in Brisbane, Australia. And it's fantastic. People have a pathway to follow. And as Martin said earlier, they start looking like a golfer and not like a gopher. So.
Exactly. Right out of Caddyshack. Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next month.
Okay. See you guys.
Have a great school. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.
What we've really come to understand is it's the hand action that actually drives.
If you have good hands, you know what to do with your hands. So much works back into the body, and the golfer is they're empowered when they know how to use their hands properly. If you have good hands, great to be with you, Peter. It's a pleasure, pal. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Martin, and it will be great to be here. Just a little mention there. Martin has probably the #1 golf school in Arizona. There are a lot of golf schools there, but you've been rated #1, so that's nice to be in your school today. Okay.
Well, that's where we're sending my studio here. This is where I subject all my students to some coaching from the range outside and then in here. But I'm really excited to get down to the brass tacks of having great hands in golf.